I want to talk about this comment that Trump made last night as he was praising one of his donors. He said the Presidential Medal of Freedom for civilians was superior to the Medal of Honor because those recipients of the Medal of Honor are often wounded or dead soldiers. Let's listen to this.
We gave Miriam the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That's the highest award you can get as a civilian. It's the equivalent of the Congressional Medal of Honor, but civilian version. It's actually much better because everyone gets the Congressional Medal of Honor. That's soldiers. They're either in very bad shape because they've been hit so many times by bullets, or they're dead. She gets it, and she's a healthy, beautiful woman. It's right. And they're rated equal.
Yeah, Tim, obviously there's a lot of discussion about what Trump said last night. He has spent the last 4 years, as you know, saying he never called fallen soldiers, quote, suckers and losers, even though it's been confirmed by CNN. But here he is on camera expressing pretty much the same sentiment, saying the Presidential Medal of Freedom is superior to the Medal of Honor because Medal of Honor recipients are often wounded or dead. What did you make of that? Tim, are you there?
I mean, look,
Can you hear me?
it is exactly what we expect from Donald Trump. Like you said, he's someone who has called veterans suckers or losers. It is someone who has dodged the draft over bone spurs. He is someone who has said that his personal Vietnam was avoiding STDs. He downplays the contributions of veterans, and it's reprehensible. On the other side, you've got someone now on the ticket in Governor Tim Walz from Minnesota, who is a veteran who served 24 years in the Army National Guard. He's someone who, when he was in Congress, half of the legislation that he was working on was to help veterans. So I think there's a really clear contrast for people who care about those who served our country.
Yeah, and Michael, I mean, obviously, anybody who gets the Medal of Freedom, our hats off to them.
Yeah, sure.
But somebody who serves in uniform, is a hero out on the battlefield, gets the Medal of Honor. I don't see how you can compare one to the other.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how you can compare one to the other either. I mean, like, I've done a lot of stuff with veterans. It's a group that I've spent a lot of time with. There's a group called Battle Buddy 3 Gun. It's a group of veterans that allow veterans who've been wounded to compete in competitive shooting. And I've done a lot of stuff with them to sort of help the guys with their PTSD and other things to show them that despite whatever physical limitations they now have after serving, we support them, we stand with them, and we can still have fun shooting guns, which is something a lot of them enjoy doing. Sure. You cannot compare this. It is an unnecessary blunder to make statements like that because a lot of veterans do support the former president. Yeah. I get the compliment to Marion, but I just think there was a better way to make that compliment without potentially insulting veterans who've given their lives, ultimately losing limbs for the freedoms of this country that a lot of people sometimes take for granted. So I don't think it was the best choice of words.
Yeah, he was trying to praise one of his big donors, Miriam.
She's given a lot of money.
But at the same time, Michael, I mean, it makes you wonder when Trump's claiming that he never said suckers and losers or disparaging wounded veterans, and then he makes a comment like that. I wonder if it gives you any pause as to whether he is even capable of blunting Kamala Harris's momentum right now when he keeps making these kinds of strange comments.
I mean, look, it's not helpful, right? There isn't a person who's advised any political candidate running for any level of office who would not warn them or caution them against making statements that make them open to attack. Yeah. Particularly when you're seeing the poll numbers slightly move against you. You want to be more on the offense and not the defense. I mean, maybe having a good defense is good when you're playing football, but in politics, Jim, that's not where you want to be.
I want to get to something that Donald Trump said yesterday, which is important to show, and this is his discussion about the difference between giving somebody the Presidential Medal of Freedom or the Congressional Medal of Honor.
We gave Miriam the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That's the highest award you can get as a civilian. It's the equivalent of the Congressional Medal of Honor, but civilian version. It's actually much better because everyone gets the Congressional Medal of Honor. That's soldiers. They're either in very bad shape because they've been hit so many times by bullets, or they're dead.
Michael?
I mean, look, this is the kind of thing that another candidate says something like this, and we're
game over.
We're talking about it, you know, from one end of the hour to the other. This is just kind of the way he speaks. I do think it's important there are a lot of Americans who will not really be cluing into the election until after Labor Day, who don't either remember or realize that these are the kinds of things he says all the time. This is what the heads at the campaign are worried about. That just focus on calling Kamala a communist. Don't go on these tangents, and they can't control them.
Just real quick.
Yeah, it was just a weird tangent, and I don't think the American people probably might not be focused on the difference between the Congressional Medal of Honor
enough.
and, honestly.
It's more about what he said about the
disrespectful
military.
to soldiers
Yeah.
in the military, and very reminiscent of what he said about John McCain in the summer of 2015. Politically, that didn't hurt him, but veterans, certainly listening to those words from anyone else, it would be a big deal.